Hi, Zizaran here, and I'm going to show you some harvest crafts that still work. So, we had a long discussion today, and this video isn't really, I don't want to tell you how to feel, and I don't particularly care how you feel. That's not the important part of this video, and the people that don't like the harvest changes, you know what? You're completely justified. It's completely okay. Your opinion is completely okay. I just want to get that out of the way first. So whether you like or dislike the harvest changes doesn't really matter. I just want to talk a little bit about things that still work. So for example, a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of the people that are angry, they, for example, because I was showing a lot of the crafts that still work on Reddit, and a lot of people were like in full caps, like, you can't use harvest on info spaces, which you can. You can still use things like reroll, reforge. You can use like keep prefixes, keep suffixes, and roll, more likely to hit the same outcome, which are these three are obviously very, very, very powerful. We don't know if you can do remove non-physical, add physical on influence. I'm gonna assume that you can't. It's insanely powerful if we can, but I would assume that you can't. That part's probably like the least clear, because it said anything that adds, and it does remove and then add. So we know that that craft still exists, but still. Anyway, so there are several things, and we've just started scratching the surface of this new way of crafting because we haven't had to before, and it is more expensive. But there are several ways you can still currently make really, really good items. So, for example, for most of the +1 amulets, sorry, +2 amulets, it's mostly just an awaken orb and then hoping that you hit good stats and not shit ones, right? It's harder to clean up new items now than it was before. Something I thought about was like, oh, you know what's really hard? A +2 chaos amulet. Turns out you can guarantee that as well still. So let's show you how. So we go here on amulet, and then now, as normal, the first step is still really hard. You need to hit +1 chaos mods, sorry, +1 int, just like now, right? Whether you hit that by like chaos spamming in harvest, or whether you hit that by alterations, which that's nothing's changed there, right? Then we regal, and we want to hit a suffix. We don't want to hit a prefix, but it's not the end of the world. But either way, ideally, this is like the perfect outcome. We want a prefix and a suffix. Now comes the expensive part. And obviously, I'm fully aware that not every player will have access to this. I just want to show something that still works because some people might not have thought of it. Now I do can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. I do prefixes cannot be changed, and I do suffixes cannot be changed. Now, and again, remember that the chaos still works. Now, and I'll explain why this works as well, when I reroll this item with chaos, this is going to add +1 chaos. Well, why does this work? It says prefixes cannot be changed and suffixes cannot be changed. This merely means that the prefixes and suffixes that are here cannot be changed. So right now you can see we have 2 prefixes and we have 3 suffixes. And there is only 1 chaos prefix. And these both guarantee that something gets added, including a modifier with the selected type. So when there is only 1 prefix open of that type, it has to be +1 chaos, no matter what. The secret here is like, you know, you're basically using the reroll as an augment, but in a clunky, weird way that costs you 6 exalted orbs. But obviously an amulet like this is insanely powerful. And I don't really want to get into a debate whether you should or should not have super important and expensive items. I just want to show some ways the harvest still works and just acts as a bigger exalt sink. Explosion chest is very, very easy to make still. And again, these are expensive crafts. This is it's 2x to get an explosion chest. And I do fully realize that it's not as easy as before. So we grab an astral plate. We have Crusader. And then we use, oh, boom. Then we use harvest and we reroll with physical. Now, obviously, now I have a chance of hitting what I want. Like, I have a chance of randomly rolling the explode, but most likely not going to. Now I have to annul until, like, you'd have to keep repeating this step until you have, like, this. This is what your chest needs to look like. You need to have, oh, armor base might be a bad example of this, but that's a good thing to cover anyway. But either way, you need to have this, the reflect, and then the physical damage for taking was lightning, and then whatever. Now I do prefixes cannot be changed, and I reroll physical, and boom, explosion. Now, a lot of people are going to be asking, well, now what? Well, yeah, that sucks. At least you have a good way of getting explosion still. This is like a guaranteed 2x way of getting an explosion. And now you could accidentally annul off the explode, right? So it's very, very likely going to happen. If you're able to get rid of like one of them, then you're able to do life, or you could multi-mod. And remember that we still have access to reroll suffixes. And this is going to be more common. So I could do this until I got something good. You can still use like the augment influence to try to get other things as well. And obviously a lot of those should be more common now because we have a 60% increased chance of harvest. We've been calculating and looking at these quite a lot. And again, I've just started looking into these. There might be better ways that we come up with soon. But getting a Shaper Shield with fairly high, like let's say tier 2, is actually pretty easy. Surprisingly easy, at least. Right? Like this is a surprisingly easy shield to make just by ult regaling, or at least like tier 3. That's actually like 300 or 400 ults. But even a tier 1 and a tier 2 mod or something like that, you quite a lot of options, right, with ult regaling to get something like this with just 2 stat. And then we can do that same thing again. Reroll plus defense, and boom, I've now augmented recover energy shield when I block, and I can now multi-mod. At least I can have like a really good ES on block shield. And also another thing to take note of, like for example, this chest, as well as this shield. If you've seen my how to craft my instacker gear, a lot of what we did there was use that mod, which is reroll items more likely to roll the same, and it's very strong for a lot of things like that. And several use cases of that will still work on influence items after the harvest changes. Obviously, the struggle will always be to like completely perfect the items, which in my opinion is a good thing, but that doesn't really matter. The more likely to roll the same is an insanely strong tool, as well as obviously the prefixes and suffixes rerolls. So those were like the crafts that we looked at today on stream. I just wanted to showcase some of them and just talk about it a little bit, because I know a lot of people are angry and a lot of people seem to not understand all of the posts. A lot of people think that you can't harvest reroll influence items anymore, which you can. I'm not 100% sure if you can or can't use the non-influence to, or sorry, non-physical to physical on influence items. But at least there's still a lot of ways the harvest can still be used. It's definitely like a nerf, obviously. But I just wanted to make this video. I've seen there were some streamers that said, oh, we're back to alteration rolling explode chest. But at least the explode chest is just 2x. And there might be additional changes that I don't know about, but at least this works just based on the changes and what we have so far. So I will try to look up and find more things like this, because there's probably a lot more that'll still work. It'll just be more expensive and harder. It definitely does lock it away from some players. But either way, I hope you guys enjoy this showcase about post-nerf harvest and how it will be. But obviously, harvest is still very, very useful. We're not back to alteration or multi-modding. So, again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video. Remember, I stream on Twitch every day. Oh, and the gauntlet's coming up tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and try to die less than I do.